Hey guys, me again. At home box for September. I know over the summer we sort of stopped them a bit, but we're getting right back into the swing of things. So today we're going to talk about our class that's on the 17th that is about dahlias. So let's first talk about dahlias. They are gorgeous. They grow from a tuber. Lots of people around here grow them. I believe you have to dig up the tuber every year and then put it back in, but you get so many gorgeous blooms. This is called a cafe au lait, and it's like a beautiful ivory. A lot of times there's a mauve-y pink to it. It's really popular for weddings. You can get beautiful others, colors. This is my favorite, I think. It's orange with some white. It's so beautiful. And there's also different varieties. Like these are smaller, as you can tell. I think they're called like the pom-pom variety. And then there's also some that I don't have here, but they are called dinner plate. And the reason they're called dinner plate is no joke. They're like a dinner plate. It's like bigger than my face. They're super cool. So those are some of the dahlias that we're gonna use today. The other thing we're gonna talk about is if you went to maybe the grocery store or pick your own field and you just wanted to pick flowers or grab a bunch, how do you get that into a vase and look beautiful? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by just organizing. So we're gonna have like our medium blooms. This would be like a medium bloom. This is obviously a large bloom. We have tall line flower. Now this is the vase that we're using, so we want to think about height as we go. So as you're sorting, you also need to be cleaning them. So the thing about glads, if they happen, so some of these flowers will be in your bunches, some of them might not. It's all at your own right now. So the thing about glads is you can always snap that top off just like that, and it helps it to stop grow a little bit, but it also helps to keep that line so it doesn't wiggle waggle. The other would be looking at the blooms. Now these bottom blooms look sort of spent. They're just older, so we're not gonna want them anyways. And I'm also gonna wanna think about my vase. How tall am I gonna want it? You know, if there was beautiful blooms all the way down to here, well, we're not gonna use them all. Remember, anything that goes into the water should not have foliage or anything like that. So we're stripping everything off. So let's get these going. And I know it's so hard to do and you're like, but they're pretty, but they're gonna perish. So that's what you need. Sunflowers, beautiful. Pick off any petals. Sometimes their leaves have brown on them, so same thing. You just wanna clean them up, get them nice. This is called Lisianthus. It's so beautiful. I didn't even know it was grown locally until we started getting it in. It's just gorgeous. I would say this is about a medium bloom also. All right, so there's a lot of things in here, and you might not use them all, or you might have enough to do 2 vases, but we'll get there. Another type of sunflower. This is a ruffly type, and it's on the smaller side. Ageratum. This is, I would call like a filler flower. I have more filler flowers here. This is Sweet William. More of that. Taking all my foliage off, right? This is called Feather Celosia, and it's so pretty. It gives a great extra color and a little bit of movement, some texture to that. Now this is Hanging Amaranthus. When it gets bigger, it starts to go like this and it flows so pretty. But when it starts, it can be more upright. So I call that a filler flower also. More Lisianthus. Locally grown snapdragons. Look at them too, make sure like some of these have brown on them. So we're taking them right off, right? We don't even want them in. I would consider these still a line flower, even though this one's a little wonker. It's all good. Let's see what else we have. There's a lot in this bucket. Status, we've used this before in class. Another sunflower, but to be honest, I don't think this one looks very good, so I'm not even gonna put it in there. And that is unfortunately part of the whole thing, especially if you're getting something from like the grocery store. It's not always in its prime, so you do really need to double check what you're getting. Here's another sunflower. That one's pretty. We're gonna keep that. What else do we have in our bucket? Lisianthus again, but this one's purple. So pretty. Another mini sunflower. And these are called zinnias. You probably see these around right now all over in fields. They are probably one of my favorites. They come in so many colors and so many different shades of colors. They're really great. All right, so the last thing that we're gonna have, and it's probably gonna be the first thing we use, is foliage. So this is called scented geranium. That actually might work. And remember, we've talked before about like creative cutting. This looks wilty, but it's really not. It's just how it grows. So we'll be able to get 2 pieces out of that. And more scented geranium, looking, you know, for any bad leaves. Here we go. This is called Sweet Annie. And it'd be like a filler or a foliage, either way. And then look at this beautiful Japanese maple leaf, I think. It's so pretty. Oh, look at it's like all these little, gosh, what great color. All right, so now that I have everything set and I have it organized, I can think about how I want to put it in my vase. So we're going to start with our foliage like we normally do. I will have some salal or lemon leaf in your box also for you, just as a very small base, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to go in here. But we've all done this before, right? Make sure it's long enough. Oops, that one didn't work. Make sure that the stem is long enough to get in the water, but the leaves are not in there, right? Remember, no foliage in your water. So I'm just gonna put this in here. And it's truly just to get a base and to help with your crisscrossing. So if you remember in the past, when we have our stems in the vase, it's hard to see with this, but they're all like crisscrossing in so that it's like a grid. So when you put stuff in, it's gonna stay where you want it. So let's then go on to our scented geranium. So this, easily 2, right? We're gonna just start filling in with our greens. That little piece I took off, remember, no foliage in the water. These ones actually look bad. If you saw them up close, they are wilty and brown. No brown allowed. Take off my foliage. Oh, get in there, little dude. And so remember, we're building sort of from the bottom up, but we also want to, when we're inserting our stuff, sort of go across. So if I put one on this side, I want to put one on this side to keep it symmetrical, and it won't be like too heavy on one side then. So there's that. I know this looks so droopy, but it's gonna perk up, and it's just what it does. If you could smell it right now, you'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna use that. All right, the last of our scented geranium. Try to get some up top here. All right, let's go ahead and add some of this. So beautiful. Same thing, we'll get 2 out of that one. It's hard to waste some of this, I know, but you don't need it all. And you want, for longevity, you just want to make sure there's no foliage in there. All the bad stuff is gone. Look at that color already. It's so great. Alrighty, let's see. And so I'm sort of interspersing it through the green. So now color-wise, it's balanced also, right? Let me show you here. So my burgundy is equally all around as for my green. Now, this is pretty good. I wouldn't probably do much more foliage than this, even if you have it. You can always add some later if you want a different color or something, but there's a lot of flowers here. So I usually start with, and I think it is smart, to start with either a line flower or your massive focal flowers, which are your big-headed like this dahlia. And the reasoning for that is let's get them out of the way. So like if we put a whole bunch of little things in, and then is there really gonna be room for the bigger ones? No. So that's why we wanna do that. So the tall, remember we wanna try to get our taller line flowers in the middle. So see how I have that there? This is gonna be our front sorta. I have, look at this cool bud. I'm gonna cut that off because that stem is long enough that it can go in by itself. Now the thing about dahlias too, as you can see, the head is crazy. You can wire them, it just sort of depends. And I can go over that in class, or if you guys are at home box and you want to learn next time you're in class, just remind me. The other thing is some of these back petals are a little eaten by bugs because they're from a field, right? The thing about dahlias too is you can just pluck some of these. It didn't even know, you couldn't even tell I did it, and it doesn't hurt them. So now we're going to place our dahlia. So remember how we always have like a central axis to go to? This is the type of flower that is gonna make your mind go crazy because you wanna look at the head of the flower and where it's facing when you put it in. So, well, I'm gonna turn it like this. There we go. So it looks a little flat, but that's just how they grow. So we're gonna help with that later when we get moving. And so we have a couple sunflowers, fresh cut, remember, no foliage in. And let's just put these equally around. Remember our peace sign or our thirds? This is where that's coming in. All right, so if you can see from the top, 1, 2, 3, there's our thirds. We have our line flower in the middle. So if you stopped here, it'd be fine, but there's so much more that we could do. So sometimes, you know, you just have to fluff as you go. Let's go ahead and add these little snaps. I would actually think of these now, since we already have this, as almost a medium flower like these. I have 2 of them, so I'm gonna sort of go across so that they're, again, equally balanced. My color is balanced, my visual weight is balanced, all of that. Now, we're here for the dahlias. So let's get moving on those here. No foliage, fresh cut. And this is where you're just gonna start inserting. But making sure no foliage, fresh cut, and you wanna make sure your color is balanced. So since I put that orange one there. Now it looks like this is sort of on top of it or such, but that's the beauty of it, is the dahlias have a mind of their own, like a lot of the other things we've used. This pom-pom dahlia, let's go the opposite way. So I'm gonna put it there. And since I have 2 of the same color, I'm gonna go there. So you see how we're getting going? I have them across, so everything's visually good. Let's go to these cute little sunflowers. I'm doing, remember, smaller blooms are a little higher because, again, of visual weight. And since there's 2 sunflowers there, I'm gonna put these on the same side so we have that. This one's smaller, up top, we have this here. Let's see, I have 2 zinnias. So same thing, we're just gonna go one on this side and one on this side. Now, as you see, every flower has its own space. You know, like, yeah, they're sort of on top of each other, but you can actually tell what each one is. If we had these all jammed and this was lower, you might not get the excitement of each flower and what they bring to the table. So make sure to think of that. I only have one of these, but it's so pretty, so we're just gonna find the holes that we have and put them in. This Lysianthus is so pretty. I wish it smelled. It doesn't. Oh yeah, look, I have a nice little hole right there, so I'm gonna put this in there. All right, there we go. So now all I have left is filler. And I think all I want to use is this feather celosia and the hanging. Oh, look at my bud I forgot about. Let's put him in, because, I mean, look at that, how cute. So this, we're gonna use more like it's hanging. So we're gonna put it in right at the edge and get it in our crisscross, but see how that's just gonna float down. And then this feather celosia is gonna help us with a bright color. See how I put it there and it's not all the way down, so like this, so you can't see it. It's still in my shape and it's giving its full beauty by doing that. All right. Jeez, guys. Well, I just really can't stop because it's just so beautiful. So we have an ageratum and we're gonna use it. We're gonna use it, friends. So remember, coming down towards the bottom of the vase helps us with that unity that we've had, making sure the vase and the flowers look like they're one. And I just like coming down at the end like this because it sort of helps do that. There. I love it. I hope you do too. Got our beautiful dahlias in there, all of the wildflowers. You know, we separated first, have our base of greens, all the things. I hope you like it. I hope this helped. When I see you in class, go ahead and ask questions if you need, and we'll help confirm some of those. But there you go, a beautiful wildflower vase, including dahlias.